Hello, everybody. It is Debbie G, and I am back here on Unify with another spectacular, incredible person in this world who is doing amazing, amazing work. Her name is Monica Willard. We have her here because you know, and I know how important you have learned by now that anti-nuclear prayer days are. Very, very important. Let me share a little bit about Monica because it's extraordinary. She's a charter member of the United Religion Initiative, URI, and serves as the main URI representative to the United Nations. Her leadership at the UN includes founder and current chair of International Day of Peace NGO Committee at the UN, chair of the 1996 DPI NGO Conference and founding NGO member of the Tripartite. Tripartite. That's an interesting word. That's a tongue twister. On interfaith cooperation for peace and development with the UN member states, agencies, and NGOs. As an active member and past president of the Committee of Religious NGOs at the UN, Monica helped establish World Interfaith Harmony Week. Wow. An annual observance at the UN and around the world. This includes 2012 and 2013 observances in the UN General Assembly, and presidents of the General Assembly. 2018 at the African Union with the president of Ethiopia, and events in Jordan, Israel, Palestine in 2020. Monica received the 2010 Spirit of the UN Award from the Congo Committee on Spirituality, Values, and Concerns. I am absolutely honored and blessed to have you here. Monica, what a bio. You have really done some amazing work.
Thank you, Debbie. It's an honor to be with you today. My work at the UN actually started with nuclear weapons. I was representing an organization called the Ribbon International, which was started by an amazing woman, Justine Merritt, who was living in Colorado, working with the Loretto community. And she asked people to put onto cloth panels what you cannot bear to think of as lost forever in the event of a nuclear war. So take a minute yourself and think about what you might put on a cloth panel, 3 feet by 1.5 feet with ties on each corner. And these panels were going to be tied together around the Pentagon to show the Pentagon as a gentle reminder what would be lost if there was a nuclear exchange. 23 miles of these ribbons were tied together in Washington, D.C. by people holding the individual panels in 1985 on the 40th anniversary of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Fast forward a number of years, and here's one of the ones that was held in Washington, D.C.
Oh, it was stunning.
On display at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. I have brought it to prayer gatherings throughout the world. And this wonderful artist has on blue velvet what she could not bear to think of as lost forever as our world.
Beautiful, Gaia. That is absolutely stunning. And everybody that's watching, I want you to just soak this in. Can you hold it up again and let everybody just really I want you to soak this in right now, and I want you to feel the power. This has been all over the world. Feel the power of this and why that anti-nuclear prayer days are so vital. This right here is one of the most stunning pieces I've seen yet. Powerful.
It is powerful.
I love it.
And it's soft because it's on velvet, and it really has been carried around the world with love. And it was one, as I said, of 23 miles of this tied together in Washington, D.C. It went around the Pentagon, and I did not get this given to me there. Justine Merritt, the founder of this project, gave this panel to me at the UN Earth Summit. And I've carried it with me since 1992. I have it proudly on display at my office, and I use it at prayer vigils, and it will come to the UN Church Center with me on, we're starting our prayer on August the 5th in the afternoon, because that is already August the 6th in Japan.
Correct.
And so we are doing Nuclear Prayer Day at the UN Chapel, as we've done many, many events from the UN Chapel. And this summer, it's so important because at the time we are doing this prayer around the world, the UN is negotiating the Nuclear Nonproliferation Treaty. And it's the 2020 review time. It has been postponed because of COVID. And as someone sitting on the outside of this, on the periphery, as an NGO civil society participant, I kind of have my breath held, because I don't know what can come of this as we are looking at the situation in the Ukraine, knowing that the two countries with the most nuclear weapons are the United States and Russia. And this is the time that we're supposed to be negotiating to eliminate nuclear weapons.
That's right.
Press seems to take on the side of non-proliferation. Let's make sure nobody else gets these weapons. And we get very, very concerned when North Korea has a few. And any nuclear weapon is dangerous, extremely dangerous. But when you are talking about 15,000 nuclear weapons, with over 90% held between Russia and the United States, the negotiation for serious disarmament, elimination of nuclear weapons, the removal of the threat of nuclear weapons, really, really is between Russia and the United States. Because right now, both of them are in agreement to not sign on to the treaty that was negotiated at the United Nations, the treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons, whereas 80 countries have signed on to this particular treaty. It came into effect in January of last year. And in June, there was a meeting of the states parties who signed on to it. And the real importance of this is a treaty that makes nuclear weapons illegal. It makes them illegal for the threat. If to host them for other countries, it makes them, there is a moral call to eliminate nuclear weapons, because only 9 countries are noted for having nuclear weapons right now. And there are 193 countries in the United Nations. So the majority of countries have signed onto this treaty. And it is so important that the voices of all the people on this planet are considered when 9 people have the power to destroy this planet.
That's scary to think of, honestly. And I am so impacted by what you just said. That's powerful. 2 of the biggest, most powerful countries in this world have not signed on to this. And this is why this prayer day, these prayer days are vital, because we all are aware where 2 or more are gathered, the energy of that. But this is bigger than that. This is worldwide. You know, honestly, I did not know this, and I'm aghast at that. Aghast at the idea that they haven't signed on, but all of these others have. This prayer is more important than ever. And I agree with you about the situation in Ukraine. And I do believe that this prayer is what is going to be needed to create this absolute necessity for all of the nuclear weapons to be completely done away with.
That is part of this treaty that has been in effect. It was the first resolution of the United Nations, was the elimination of nuclear weapons. They have been around 76 years.
Wow.
It is time we make a plan for an elimination, which won't happen overnight. And I do want to be clear, when the treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons was signed, 123 122 countries signed on, and it's been ratified. It took 50 ratifications to put it into place, and we're up to closer to, I'd have to look it up exactly, but there are about 80 countries that have ratified this treaty. So it is in effect, but none of the countries who have either the 9 who hold nuclear weapons or those that are under the umbrella of nuclear weapons, as in NATO countries and other alliances, they have not signed on. And so listening to the voice of those who are abiding by the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, they're doing their part. They aren't getting nuclear weapons. That's part of it. But the other part was to get rid of them by those who have it. And it's time that we really pray. And it's also time that we take this into our action. I'm inspired by a quote from the prayer vigil from the earth that I had gone to many years ago. And it was an indigenous prayer gathering that was held with a circle of teepees at the base of the Washington Monument. And it was there over a weekend in October for many years in a row. And one of the leaders, Grandfather Harry Bird, his quote was the one that was put on T-shirts, the one that really connected me in such a deep way around the issue of nuclear weapons. And he put prayer in perspective. And his quote is, "A heartfelt prayer is more powerful than an atom bomb."
That's right.
We know how strong a nuclear weapon was in Hiroshima. We've seen a huge bomb tested and decided it was way too big for anybody to use later. But any nuclear exchange, the small tactical nuclear weapons that is discussed is closer to the size of a Hiroshima bomb. Over 200,000 people died because of a bomb, one atom bomb. And those that were exposed have suffered throughout their life. And some, because it does affect women more than men, some genetic issues have been passed down to another generation and subsequent generations, because radiation is not just a short-lived effect. So the impact of nuclear weapons goes beyond anything we know, really, even with 75, 76 years since the last one was dropped. But we know that when you have over 15,000 weapons, unless we have a plan and a determination to really get rid of them, they will be used somehow by mistake. And we've had near misses. We need to have a plan to eliminate nuclear weapons for the survival of this planet. It would, any exchange, any type of exchange would exacerbate climate change beyond belief, cause nuclear winter, famine, and the actual impact right at the spot of detonation. There were many people evaporate. It just is beyond horror. And we know this, and yet we put money, we use our scientists, we have a whole industry to build this and to use them to threaten people. Nuclear weapons are the biggest bullying tactic in the world. It's time we look at this and shift it. And I don't think of prayer as ever being in a bullying situation. Prayer is how you add love. It's how you transform things. It's how you connect to the universe. It is that universal trust in our connectedness to one another. And it's time that we put our prayers into eliminating nuclear weapons so that future generations can be safe, so that we will not be adding to the pollution and the dangers. We won't be mining and radioactive material. We won't be using excess energy, and we won't be transporting things that are incredibly dangerous to bring them together to make something that's even more dangerous. And then if it gets to the point that you can't use it and it's too old, how do you dismantle it to begin with? So it's time we start dismantling nuclear weapons and have
I
a
love
serious.
this. Yes, I love your passion for one. Don't you, audience? Look at this passion. Oh, I could eat you up. You are just, your passion is just, it's spreading like wildfire. And I'm just enamored with the brilliance that comes from you. I want to thank you for sharing all of these messages today, because you have really given us a core understanding of nuclear weapons, powerful one at that, and what we can do to change it. And that is prayer, that is joining together through love, being one in unity with humanity. What last words would you like to say?
I hope that we inspire people to write their own prayers, to listen to some of the tapes and get a little bit more informed, to connect with younger people. I also want to say we've done an interview that I hope people meet, Kathleen Birkinshaw, who has, her mother was exposed as a 12-year-old, and she has a neurological disease. And she wrote the book, The Last Cherry Blossom, talking about the people in Japan who, what their life was like in 1945 and the horrors and the impact that the bomb had. And I just think that we need to realize something that Jonathan Granoff has said many times. There is nothing at all that a nuclear bomb can make better. The use of a nuclear bomb would exacerbate anything and make any situation so much worse. It's time we stop thinking suicidally. We must give these up and plan and demand that from our elected officials. We have to change our thought, because a nuclear bomb might have been thought of as winning World War II. That bomb had no response. Nobody else had it. There would never be a singular bomb again. There would be multiple exchanges. And the dynamics of that is so horrific that this is a limit we must recognize and accept and turn from it and make the changes that are appropriate to eliminate nuclear weapons for the fate of the planet, for future generations, and for our peace of mind.
Woo! Yes, I'm on board 100%. And I know that you, the viewing audience, have just felt this powerful message. And I hope that it's just hitting your heart, as we have been talking about in previous videos, like the atomic explosion of love and unity, because it is through this, through prayer, that we will see these changes happen. Because I do believe that peace is possible by 2030. I believe that may peace prevail on earth. And all the links for Monica are straight up in the description, just like everything else. And please join us on August 5th and 6th on Unify. And all of you all over the world, no matter where you're at, if you don't join us, just join in prayer.